for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer.
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
Yay!
All right, well, I take you now to the great city of Denver, Colorado, where Tom Messina owns a restaurant, or at least he thought he did. For the past 20 years, Mr. Messina has operated Tom's Diner on Colfax Avenue right in the middle of downtown Denver, a popular 24-hour restaurant just a few blocks from the Colorado State capital. It's demanding work. Mr. Messina is looking forward to moving on as he nears retirement age. His plan was always, well, I'll sell my restaurant. That'll be my retirement. That dream looked like it would become a reality because a company offered him almost $5 million for his property, and the Colorado-based developer wants to build an 8-story apartment building with the shops on the ground floor. They thought it would be a great place to do that. The price was right for Messina, and the plans fit perfectly with Denver's 2010 rezoning of the property. But wait. Denver's historic preservationists got wind of Messina's evil plans to sell his own property and retire after 2 decades of serving Denver residents eggs, and they objected. The activists argued that Messina's restaurant, first built in 1967, is a classic example of mid-century googie architecture and is worthy of protection. For Messina, the issue comes down to the fact that it's his building and his land, and he should be able to decide what happens to it. And so I ask you and Mr. Cunin, because it's your turn, and because, oh, by the way, this is a 5-point risk-it round. You may risk up to 5 points of your current score. You can either lose 5 or gain 5 more plus, but, so that's what we're up against. If you don't want to, it's still a, 1 point and 1 point, but because Todd's so far behind, it's only fair.
Thanks for throwing me a bone there, Cal.
So the question is, case or no case?
The
Mr.
question
Kidder,
is
points,
and then case or no case,
points
right?
first.
Points or no points? Okay, so first I'll go ahead and do the 5.
All right, very well.
So I'm going to
5
go
points
big or go home.
Right.
What the heck?
There you go. And by the way, if you get it split, it's a no point. It's a no point problem.
So I just stay right where I'm at.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a case? Could this guy be basically shut down by the Preservation Society in the town? And I will say, because I've heard about this happening before, I'm going to say, yeah, this is a case. And I am also going to say that the Preservation Society is able to sustain their action and prevent him from engaging in the activity he wants to.
You see, and this is just what Fred was talking about. Do we live in a capitalist society, or do we live in a society where nobody really owns anything? And that's really that this might bring up. And so, Denise, I guess we'll just go around the horn. You get to go second, if you please.
All right. You want me to say points?
I'd like you to.
I'm just going to risk 2.
Okay, 2. Very well.
Okay. And I'm conservative in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's 2010, and I'm trying to think back, and does a Preservation Society, if they win, is it really like not adverse possession, but what's the name when?
Eminent domain.
Eminent domain, exactly.
You already grabbed my thought.
Yes, and so I'm thinking that if it is an eminent domain matter, which I think it would have to be if it's a preservation issue, then they have to match the $5 million. So I think it's a case, and I think that he gets the $5 million in some manner.
All right. Mr. Penney, what say you?
Well, Denise followed my exact thing. I mean, there is no damages if he's selling it for $5 million.
Wait, you got to put your points at risk.
2 points. I'm 2 points.
All right.
It doesn't matter where he gets the money from, and if they come in as a preservation society or a historic society and prove that it's a historic landmark, then the government can take it under eminent domain, but they're going to have to pay the reasonable value of that. And so if they prove that he's been offered $5 million, they got to write a $5 million check to keep the diner there. And if I was him, I would be happy for that, wouldn't you? Good, take it, eminent domain. I got my original diner still there, and by the way, I'll still work there if you like me to. And I'm going to take the $5 million. So, and that money comes out of the taxpayers like me, you, and everybody else. So that is the scenario. That was a very intelligent argument, Denise, and I agree. But I'm going to say no case, and let me tell you why. I think this is a true scenario. I think this incident did occur, and I think they worked it out, but there was no lawsuits filed. No lawsuits filed.
Did you risk any points on this, Fred?
Two.
2 points. Okay. All right. Well, all right.
No lawsuits were filed.
Interesting. Well, it's very interesting that each of you had different legal theories on this. The first question I would ask you, and I'm just going to ask you out loud, is do you think that the Preservation Society has eminent domain authority? They're just a group. They're not really like a government agency or anything. Fred, what do you think?
So I think that it depends on every state's different, but I think there is a federal one, but I think they do have certain rights. I don't know that answer. I'm going to put that out there, but I believe they do have some sort of rights.
I missed something, and
Yeah.
that's the rezoning issue. And that's very important to this case, actually. So they rezoned it. The question is what they were going to do. The people that were going to buy this business from him, what were they going to do with the property? And perhaps it was not zoned for that purpose.
An 8-story apartment building with shops on the bottom floor. It was a mixed-use retail residential was what...
Well, when we come back, we're going to hear about it because Cal's going to tell us whether we like it or not and see if Denise, myself, and Todd, we have different theories.
Oh, you'll
It's
like
going to be fun.
Oh, come on.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penney.
So Tom's Diner, a place that sounds like I would love to eat, unfortunately, in Denver, Colorado, wants to sell the property, and he wants to retire, old Tom, and for $5 million to a developer that's going to put a high-rise and some lower end on the bottom of the high-rise, make some nice restaurants or do some sort of other type of commercial
convenience store, maybe something.
Whatever. So the issue is a Denver Historic Society or Preservation Society came in and said, no, you can't do that because it's a historic place that it's the original diner that everybody loves. The question is, did a lawsuit occur? And if so, who wins in that case? Denise and I talked about eminent domain, and during the break we're saying, well, does the Historic Society, is that a government entity that they can claim eminent domain? And we're thinking no now, that's a private society. They're going to have to raise the money, but I don't know that answer. So Cal, go ahead.
By the way, I just want to say we did get one message coming in saying that, yes, this is a case, but it was based upon a personal experience of this person. But one of our listeners has said it is a case.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I wonder, can we penalize them if they're wrong?
No. They're always right. Our listeners are always right.
That's right. Listeners are always right. All right. So here's the deal. For those of you who say this is a case, please raise your hands. That would be Denise and Mr. Cunin, and the answer to that is...
Oh, Fred Penney is right again.
Now,
I love to hear that.
Now, I will not deduct any points from Todd because he said it was a true scenario. And he's right about that. It is a true scenario.
And so did I.
Not going to deduct any points from any of you, and I'm not going to award points to any of you except you, Fred, for saying it was no case. And here's why. This actually, the Preservation Board came to the restaurant owner and said, look, let us show you how to use your land. You can leave the building here, but of course that meant 60% of the property would be used for the development. Therefore, the value of the property went like that. And he said, look, if you want to buy it from me for $4.5 million, you're welcome to do that. And they said, oh, no. As the Preservation Society, all we have to do is get it registered as the National Place of Historic Registers, Register of Historic Places, and you can't touch a nail without going through them. And that's what they did. So it's now in the National Registry of Historic Places. He's still trying to get compensated for the money they took from him. It's not been fully resolved. It's still up in the air, but they have sent it in for submission for registry. It's not registered yet. Yes.
So I have an answer. And as a mediator, sometimes it's good to get a mediator in. Why don't they come in and lift the diner up and move it somewhere else so the original diner is still in place, even though it doesn't sit at the same spot, and that's the historic diner that's still there, but put it somewhere else that is not going to cause this problem, and give him his $5 million. I just solved it. Give me a call, everybody. If you're listening to Radio Law Talk in Denver, tell Tom at Tom's Diner this is what needs to happen.
Great question. There are 3 restaurants built in the same original chain on which Tom's Diner was based on the very same street. His happens to be the first one, and so the Historic Society said, well, you can't move that one. You could move the other 2, but this is the original one. It has to stay. And it's some chain you've never heard of, like Smitty's or something. I don't even know what it is. It's a weird thing.
I want to look this up on the internet.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. Yeah, Google it, and then you'll get a lot more subtext and background that I could give you. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is case or no case. And
Go to the website, radiolawtalk.com. That's radiolawtalk.com.